What's up, players? Welcome to episode number 74 of Ready Press Play, your weekly source for everything that's new and exciting in the world of video games. Every Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific or 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we discuss the top news of the week, notable releases on all platforms while we're playing, big topics of the industry, and the games we love. If you want to write anything to Brett in the show, go to ReadyPlayNetwork.com or hit us up at ReadyPressPlay on Twitter and TikTok. No matter where you found us, please subscribe to the feed so you can get every new show directly to your device as soon as it posts. And if you like it, please leave us a nice review. This is June 11th, 2021. I'm your host, Daniel Lima, and I'm joined as always by my co host, Lewis.
Dan, I just got to say that I have a slightly off-air, slightly defunct podcast called Musing with Nachaka, and I just
Mm,
realized that we've done more episodes than I have did in my entire run on that show.
that's true. And that show was around how many years were you doing that show, by the
I
way?
want to say 3 or 4 years. I want to
Okay.
say, but it was very small little seasons, stuff like that. Like I call them seasons.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it amounted like 40 something episodes, maybe like high 40s if you count like lost episodes that never aired. So yeah,
So we're not just like we didn't just pass it. We're like 50% over,
yeah,
right? At this point, right? Like so we probably passed it within our 1 year mark. And that's what happens when you're consistent with this kind of stuff and you do it every week. I'm glad you mentioned that because I kind of want to pat us in the back. I am proud of both of us, Lewis, for being able to make 74 plus extras, right? Like
yeah.
plus spoiler cast and stuff, episodes of this thing. And actually being consistent, dropping it every week. I don't think we have missed a single week yet with this show.
Sometimes we were early,
There,
sometimes we were slightly late, but we always landed on Friday. Yeah,
yes, there we go. So, pretty cool that we got to do that. And when I look back and when we started this podcast, there was like these decisions that we made in the beginning that I feel like were good decisions and we stuck with them, such as recording every Thursday night, dropping every Friday. I feel like it's made us very topical. And then actually not missing a week and making sure, if we do a special where we don't cover the news, we come back the next week and we cover everything that happened within the 2 weeks. And I like to look at our canon of our show and think that we really covered a lot. We really covered everything there was to be covered in this time frame for the most part.
yeah,
So I'm proud of us.
yes. Just wanted to just
And
throw that out there and stuff. I was just thinking about it this
yes,
week.
yeah. And talking about extra episodes, episode counts, and spoiler casts, Lewis and I just recorded, or It Takes Two spoiler cast this week. We actually ended up being late for it. That was supposed last week. We already teased that was going to be coming out. It hasn't come out yet, but we're going to be editing that, and it should be dropping early next week. So please look out for that.
It's because I'm a
As
bitch. I just want to throw.
No, I mean we're good. It's we were both late to actually schedule and record it, and then now Lewis has to edit, but he has like his work life going on right now. He has a lots of work hours that he has to put in over the next few days, so it's going to take a little bit for that to get edited and posted.
At least it's
But
shot, so it's
regardless,
gonna be on time. So
yes,
yeah.
and it's going to be out, and better late than never. Some would say it. It's not as late. I'll say this: it will nothing will ever probably be as late as our brothers: A Tale of Two Sons spoiler cast. Considering that,
Yeah,
considering that we teased it in like the first month of the podcast, and then we didn't do it until
like the
I
late.
think the
Yeah,
end
yeah.
of year one.
Yeah, oh, I think no, it was like we teased it in January and we finally posted it in November. I think that's what it was.
That is true. That is true. But anyway, so we're kind of on pre-season right now. In fact, it actually feels like we're in E3 season. I think E3 officially, or I shouldn't say E3, but like summer of gaming, as some call it, or the summer game fest. It kind of started officially today with a live stream that was presented by Geoff Keighley as part of his event, which is the one that is actually called Summer Game Fest. And then we're going to start seeing a lot of the proper E3 branded stuff happening on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So we're kind of within that week where a lot of stuff will be happening. We're kind of in a situation that's somewhere in between traditional E3 times and last year, where like last year we had these events stretch out throughout like 3 different months, versus this year seems like most stuff will concentrate within the next 7 days, but then there will still be some stuff that will be happening later on. EA, the company I work for, disclaimer, will be doing a showcase in July, I believe, and then there's some other stuff going on as well. But lots of presentations happening between now and Tuesday, Lewis. Like, even companies that normally did not have anything like this seem like they're going to be doing something.
Yeah, so I just was actually kind of looking at this E3 schedule. I was like, let me look at this schedule. But apparently, there's not a single presentation on Friday. So it's really interesting that they decided to do like a summer game fest on a Thursday of all things, which we get to cover because we record on Thursdays. So um,
I'm
also,
going to ask you to open another website,
okay, all right.
but I'll let
This
you finish your point.
disclaimer. So for all those people watching this on the premiere, because we premiere on Saturdays at like 5 p.m. So by Saturday, by the time this premiere like happens on the YouTube, the Ubisoft Forward and the Gearbox presentations would have already happened, which means that
Mm.
we're not going to be able to react or predict. We're basically predicting something that's already happened for YouTube viewers. But if you are
Should we
audio
consider
listeners, you get to listen to us on Friday. So there you go.
Yeah, should we consider dropping this on YouTube earlier, Lewis? Because I just realized that this content is going to get old really fast. Because we're going to be doing E3 predictions today. We're already kind of late to doing this now that I'm thinking about it. We should actually probably have done this last week. Because a lot of stuff already started getting and happening.
Hmm.
But I feel like today we're still at a point where we can do it. But I feel like with this, like people watching this on Saturday night, like it might, we might come off as like very off base there, depending on the things that we predicted. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, come on, it's just two presentations. What Gearbox and who did I say? It was Gearbox and Ubisoft, right?
yes, I do want you to open summergamefest.com though, because that list, like they have a schedule there that is actually more detailed, and there is stuff going on Friday. It's just more game
Oh,
specific stuff. So
okay.
from what I remember, I think there's some game specific stuff happening on Friday, and then there's some stuff Saturday, some stuff Sunday, and etc. So we can kind of look through that schedule real quick if you would like to,
Sure, sure.
and
I
just
pulled it
kind
up,
of
pulling it up here. It's all
walk our
swanky
listeners.
here. Very.
Yeah.
Let's see. So where do I go here? Events. Oh, there we go. Events
If you just keep
today.
going down, just keep going. It's
Event
gonna go through
schedule.
a
Okay, so June 11th is tomorrow. That's Friday. Yeah, Friday. So we got a New World deep dive, a Netflix Geeked Week, Tribeca Game Spotlight, and a Coke Primetime thingy mabobber.
yeah. And
Eh.
then yeah, so there's some stuff happening, but not major. But Coke Media, they own a bunch of stuff now, so there could, if that's what I think it is, then there could be some stuff coming out of there. But yeah, I'm the most excited. At the end of the day, there's really two things that I'm mostly excited about in this E3, Lewis, which is the Microsoft Bethesda conference and E3 Direct. Those are really the ones that matter most. I feel like in this time frame, they're the ones that are going to have the biggest announcements, or so we expect. There might be some cool stuff on the Square Enix one, on the Ubisoft one. Maybe Capcom could surprise us, but I
Maybe
think
Bandai
Microsoft.
Namco can show us something
Yes,
cool, you know. But
yeah.
yeah, no, like overall, like it's all about like the two first parties because PlayStation for whatever reason isn't doing anything.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I just I don't know how to put this, but as far as the answer to your question about whether or not we should premiere, like I can probably get us to premiere. I can probably premiere at 8 in the morning on Saturday, which is our old time slot.
Hmm.
The thing is that like even though we could in theory post on Fridays, there's a they want us to be like a daily show where it's like on Fridays is like the Peep Game podcast, and
Yeah,
I don't
yeah. I
know.
wouldn't want to step on anybody's toes and take away from the potential viewership of any other show at the Level One Gaming YouTube channel. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about it offline and see if we should do Saturday, but earlier in the day or something. But also ultimately, it doesn't necessarily matter. Um, so all
Yeah,
right, so
audio
we've kind of been
listeners, you're first class citizens here. Just remember
yes,
that.
we've kind of been teasing it, but basically today's show is going to be all about E3 anticipation, and Lewis and I are first going to kind of go through what has happened in E3 so far with the Summer Game Fest event, and then we're going to get into our predictions for what's going to happen over the next few days and potentially beyond. Lewis and I each prepared 10 predictions to bring up here, and we're soon get into that. Very excited for that. We're going to do our little prediction game, see whoever gets the most points, if we actually remember to count them at the end. But before we do that, so let's take a look at the Summer Game Fest event that happened today. I have kind of a roundup here from CNET as reported by Gonzalez. This was actually kind of like the minute by minute updates as it was happening, as the event was happening. They were dropping them here. Before we go through the beat by beat, Lewis, did you watch this event? If so, what were your thoughts of it? If you didn't, then what are your thoughts anyway? If you've seen anything from it?
I have not watched the event. I actually watched a like 15-minute recap of a YouTuber. One of my YouTubers, like he did his little roundup of like here's the beat by beat like playback of like his reaction to everything, and he was very bored and he fell asleep. He wanted to fall asleep. He got up and grabbed a snack at a times or whatever. Like it wasn't until like the very end where like the last two announcements that actually like mattered of any consequence that was worth his energy. And so ultimately, I also did tune into the Fame's podcast or Level One Gaming. They do the Take Two podcast, and Fame had nothing nice to say either about this.
Hmm.
So basically, all I've heard is negative reactions to it, and so like I almost, if we weren't like titling this episode like E3 prediction special, I would almost say that the title of this episode should be Summer Game Mess.
Okay. I am so shocked to hear that. I did not watch this live, but throughout my workday, I just kind of had it up after it was already like done or towards the end of it or whatever. And I was just kind of watching it casually as I was working. And there were times where I kind of sped up, like you can speed up like things on YouTube. So I just kind of sped it up for certain things that I wasn't interested on. And then I would like slow down to pay more attention to stuff. And then in that way, I actually watched, like not the full 4 hour stream, but the conference part, which was the first an hour and a half, and then they got into some other like deep dives. That had the day of the dev stuff with Tim Schafer and Double Fine, et cetera, and a few other things. But as far as the conference, the 90-minute conference, I was actually surprised at how good it was in the sense that I here's the thing, it's like it's all about an expectations game, right? The moment that we have a Capcom conference announced, a Bandai Namco conference announced, a Microsoft plus Bethesda conference, a Nintendo conference, all these other companies are doing their own conferences. And then Jeff Keighley himself is doing a conference that is not associated with any particular published. My expectation would have been that he would have nothing. Like that's the thing. It's like I would have expected that Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest event, which to be fair, I didn't even see any buzz for until today. I was like, oh, this thing is on? Okay, let me check it out. I would have anticipated that this would almost be like a little indie showcase. That was my expectation. Like,
Well,
oh, okay, like
so everyone's kind of trying to make it buzz. Like, okay, so my understanding of the situation is that Summer Game Fest is trying to compete with E3. It's trying to eat its lunch. It's trying to be, E3 is old hat. We're the new stuff. We're the new kids on the block. That's my interpretation of what Summer Game Fest is supposed to be. And so, if you're doing this 90-minute presentation, which admittedly could have been a 30-minute presentation and would have been better off for it, but you know what I mean? Like it kind of did feel like it was, all hype and no reward.
I guess I didn't see the hype. Like I don't understand where was the hype. Like to me, this was no different than when like Nintendo dropped a like partner showcase direct. It's like, oh, okay, Jeff Keighley did a thing. Like I didn't see this getting hyped up in my circles. It was just
True,
kind of like,
true.
oh, like okay, in one sense, this kind of is the opening act for E3. So in that sense, I could see it being like that people having hype for it. But I feel like people are hyped for the Microsoft showcase. People are hyped for the Nintendo showcase. JRPG fans might be hyped for the Square Enix showcase. I didn't really see that anybody was hyped for this. So to me, the fact that they had, and we're gonna get into this in a second, a major announcement that people, that a certain segment of people at least, are highly anticipating. Um, I feel like I don't know. Like to me, I guess I feel about this the equivalent as if like Lewis and I decided to like do an E3 conference together for 90 minutes, and then we happened to show Elder Scrolls 6 in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, I know that Jeff Keighley is a little bit bigger than Red Press Play. You know what I mean? But my point is like, what did you expect? Like, did you expect like Jeff Keighley to show like Starfield?
Game Awards
Yeah, like,
level announcements. Okay, he's Jeff
but
motherfucking Keeley.
But here's the thing, during the Game Awards, it's just Jeff Keighley. That's all there is. So any announcement to happen in that moment gets concentrated in that event. Versus here, he's competing with all these other events. I didn't expect him to really get anything at all because I would expect all these publishers to prefer to show their things at their own conferences.
Yeah,
So
you're
anyway, we're
it's fair. Yeah.
yeah. So I can see why people got disappointed if they were hyped for it. I just don't understand why people would be hyped for it to begin with. But Let's go through the list here. So we started with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. That is a Borderlands spin-off that focuses on the character of Tiny Tina. Then we saw a new Metal Slug game called Metal Slug Tactics. We got a Death Stranding director's cut. The trailer for this was pretty interesting because you got to see like they had all these Metal Gear references in it, and I didn't quite understand why.
It looked
Like,
like
what
the
was the
beginning of the Shadows Moses Island level, by the way. So I was like, damn, I thought they were gonna do Metal Gear Solid from that little tidbits that I saw.
I also saw a funny tweet about this, which was like, it wasn't Death Stranding already a director's cut? In the sense that, it's directed by Kojima, and Kojima is all about making the game how he wants to make it, and he puts his name. Like when you look at the credits of a Kojima game, and his name shows up like 12 different times with like 12 different roles. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's not like
so
Sony told him to cut something or whatever. You know what I mean? He had
yeah,
full
so
autonomy.
I'm not yet sure what this means, and also I have a feeling that we're gonna get a state of play about this sometime soon-ish, because they said something at the end like, "Oh, we're gonna learn more about this in the near future." Then we got Jeff Goldblum showing up to introduce Jurassic Park Evolution 2. We got some info on the new season of Call of Duty Warzone. Ryan Reynolds showed up to debut a new movie trailer, this movie called Free Guy that he's in. I thought this was interesting, but I get the vibe that this movie's going to be trash, but I kind of want to check it out. It's about an NPC in a video game world that becomes self-aware and wants to break free from the game or something, or more like potentially helping the players of the game achieve something in the game. I didn't quite understand it, but it seems interesting. I just have a feeling it's not really going to be good. Then we saw this game called Salt and Sacrifice, which is like a 2D Souls-like video game. We got a new game in the Vampire the Masquerade series called Blood Hunt. We got some Among Us updates, some new cosmetics. There's I believe no, this on Fall Guys, which I'm just gonna say it right now. There's a Near Automata skin that's coming up. Um, then we got a Stranger Things crossover with Smite. There's a few different crossovers. They showed the Evil Dead the game, which I have to admit, this game is looking good.
Yeah, that was the second
Uh,
to last announcement, by the way. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like Evil Dead the game is one of how can I put it, like the good surprises from this. And then finally they showed Elden Ring. Now here's the thing. Elden Ring is this game that got announced I think a few years ago, and it was announced with almost nothing, right? Like there was like a little teaser, and they said that George R. Martin was working on the project, as being developed by From Software. And then everybody was hyped about it. It was like one of the top things at that year's, E3 or whatever the event it was where it was announced. And then it just disappeared. We didn't get any updates. I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts that have been doing kind of predictions and expecting things from E3 over the last few weeks. And the general consensus seems to have been that Elden Ring was being treated kind of like Metroid Prime 4, where people really wanted to see this, but they had no hope they were going to see it at all. In the sense that, like, it became this thing where it's like, oh, this might as well be vaporware. We might as well not
Yes.
see this for years, or it might disappear, right? Like, just because of the fact that we didn't hear anything about it, there were no leaks about it, I believe, for a while. And then not only they showed the game again, and I believe they showed some gameplay on that trailer as well, but they also announced the game coming January 21st, 2022, which means that that game is like 7 months away, which I think is pretty insane. I don't think anybody expected this. This is kind of the equivalent as if Nintendo showed Metroid Prime 4 at this direct and then announced it, said it was coming on January 2022. I think everybody would be shocked by that as well. At least I was shocked by it. Now, the response to this trailer seems to have been all over the place. I saw some people that are really hyped for it, really excited about it. I saw other people that thought it didn't look good. Um, I don't feel any particular way because I'm not a fan of those games. I probably could be if I played more of them, but so far it does nothing to me. I'm not really myself interested in that game that much. But what do you think, Lewis?
I mean, it looks interesting. I have I'm looking at the trailer right now and having it played on screen. So, this is like my first time actually seeing this trailer, and it looks kind of like very Dark Soulsy.
Yeah.
But you're right. I will admit, I actually thought of this was going to be like one of those kind of vaporware titles where like, how do I put this? You know how like Kingdom Hearts 3 was like announced at the PlayStation 4 when the PlayStation 4 was announced, and like it's been like long in development. things like Detroit Become Human, were like, early like tech demos and the early life cycle of the console. Like I was honestly expecting this to be like something that's like 3 to 4 years, possibly 5 years out. Like I was not in any way, like shape or form, like expecting this to be an actual thing. But here we have like actual, looks like actual gameplay, and it's kind of crazy that we went from just only having a title and like Miyazaki's name and George R. R. Martin's name attached, and that's it. And now we have something like actually tangible, which is crazy. Some of these shots actually kind of remind me of like Twilight Princess. There was like a bridge shot that happened earlier in the trailer, and it kind of reminded me of like the Bridge of Elden. So
Hmm.
um, kind of makes sense because of
Yeah.
Elden Ring. But yeah, that's pretty cool though. I will say it doesn't seem like my cup of tea in general, but if there's something else that's if there's something that happens later on in the marketing cycle that catches my attention, I'll be sure to give it a try.
They gave it a specific date too, right? Like it's not even like, early 2022 or, spring or whatever. They straight up gave it January 21st, 2022, which to me tells me they're pretty confident about it, but who knows? They could still delay it like it happened with other games before they got delayed multiple times after having a release date like that. But yeah, I feel like this is one of those things that caught a lot of people off guard. I believe it might have leaked like earlier today, so maybe not completely. But for people that were not following all the leaks, then well, it definitely caught me off guard. I didn't expect it at all.
Caught me off
I
guard
don't
as
know if
well.
other people did. And I'll say that, yeah, and I'll also say that I think this will go down as one of the biggest surprises of this year's E3. And I say this because nowadays we don't really get surprised a lot. A lot of times in these events, we get to see things that we already know are happening anyway. To take a new look at them, which is exciting. I have a feeling this Elden Ring announcement will be one of the top five surprises this E3. So I feel like that's why I felt more positive than negative towards this presentation. Even though I was indifferent towards a lot of it, the fact that they had what I believe is one of the biggest surprises of the E3, what will likely be one of the biggest surprises of E3, gives them a point. So anyway, I don't really have a lot more to say on the other announcements. Some games look interesting, but not much that I'm probably necessarily gonna really play. I'm not a Borderlands fan. I bet people are excited about that, about the Tiny Tina's spinoff. Um, but I'm ready to move on to our predictions, Liz, if you are.
Yeah, I am ready to move on to the predictions. So hopefully these we're having a bit of connection issues here on
Lewis.
also, by the way. So hopefully that actually settles it or resolves itself pretty well.
All right, Lewis. So it's time we get to our E3 predictions, where each one of us brought in 10 predictions of things that we think are going to happen during E3. And we're going to talk about those in alternating fashion. Who do you want to go first, Lewis, or should I go first?
You know what? I'll kick things off because I feel like you're going to be the one to end it if at the end of the tens or duns, and I feel like I
Okay.
have the weaker predictions. So
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I was lame. Like I wanted, like sometimes I like to be like really out there and crazy with predictions. Like
Mm-hmm.
just really just go out there. But like I wanted to play it safe, so I think did nothing but predictions that would net me points. So
Okay.
I think they're like no shit Sherlock predictions, which is why I kind of hate them because like I feel like they're not uh, they're not like aspirational, which is kind of like I guess the reason why I was gonna say just as now that I think about it, when I think of my predictions, I'm like psychoanalyzing myself, but I feel like I'm so underwhelmed by this year's E3 season that I'm like not even reaching for the stars. So
Mm.
um,
I'm kind of similar in a sense actually, because I have a few I think good predictions, but some of my predictions are very like pessimistic, where they're like, we are not. I have like at least like I think two predictions that say we are not gonna see X,
yeah.
and that's because I don't know. I don't really buy into the hype as much as other people do. A lot of
Hmm.
times, like nowadays, I set my expectations pretty low.
I think without
Um,
Sony, there's not going to be another year of dreams.
that's right, especially because Dreams finally came out now in early 2020. So yes.
All right. So to kick things off, my very first prediction was Microsoft will announce a new acquisition. likely
Ah,
an A tier acquisition, and I'm gonna give a definition of that. It's kind of hype, but not really. So S tier acquisitions are things like Sega or Gearbox, where A tier is
mm-hmm.
something like you know it, but it's like okay, fine, whatever. So I'm gonna put it in that like middling, like hype level acquisition where it's a big deal. They're gonna totem on the digital stage, and then but it's like who cares.
I'm gonna bring in one of my predictions because it was similar to yours. So this was my number 9, I think, but I'm just gonna bring it in here. Microsoft will continue to announce partnerships and studio acquisitions. And this year, there will be a focus on Japan, with games from Japanese studios coming to Xbox Game Pass and a potential purchase of a Japanese developer. So,
Hmm.
so I just went a little bit more specific with it, right? So you said, well, your prediction says that they're going to acquire a studio, but it's not going to be an A tier, right? So I am not predicting the size of the studio necessarily, but I'm going more specific in saying that they are going to acquire a Japanese studio and they're also going to be showing Japanese partnerships. And a lot of my predictions this year have a lot of like multiple
Yeah,
predictions in one.
like point two
Like,
five points on that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'll make some point, even if it's just like they're doing a partnership with Sega to bring some Sega game to Game Pass, which I think is very likely because there's been some rumblings about Persona and some other stuff, then that would count as at least a point there. But if they actually buy a Japanese studio, right, then that would be even stronger. But yeah, I just feel like, obviously Microsoft wants to continue doing studio acquisitions. They've talked about that before, they're open about it. And I feel like that's a space that they don't have a lot of ground in. So, especially with their recent relationship with the Yakuza franchise, then they got Octopath Traveler on Game Pass and a few other things. I could see them going after that Japanese market. So
What do you
that's
think?
my
What do you think the chances of them like
prediction.
acquiring something like Atlas or something like that?
I mean, I I would say it's unlikely, but they bought Bethesda, so who knows? They probably could. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder. I think Atlas is probably worth less than Bethesda, but I don't know. I
Or
don't know.
better yet, like we do like an ultimate like coup where it's like Microsoft announces that they're publishing the next Kojima game, the next Kojima Productions.
So here's the thing. I had a prediction. Like I had this prediction originally was that they were gonna buy Kojima.
Oh, psh,
So
no.
I I was predicting that they were gonna buy Kojima's studio, but after we saw Death Stranding director's cut be revealed today at the Summer Game Fest, to me, the fact that and it was specifically said it's like for PlayStation 5, to me that says that Kojima's deal with PlayStation has been renewed to some extent, and that he's probably going to stay in that
Hmm.
boat, or at least for a little bit longer. So that's where I stand with it right now.
Okay. All
Um,
right, my turn.
yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
my second prediction is that we're gonna get the re-reveals of Halo and Hellblade, Hellblade 2, and
Mm,
they are both going to be given hard release dates. So if
okay.
I'm a betting man, and this is not my part of my prediction, but if I'm a betting man, we're gonna get a November date in for Halo, and maybe like a February March for like Hellblade, so that they keep each other out of each other's corners, kind of thing. They're the quarters. So, yeah.
Okay. I could see that being the case. I got a similar, well, I got a prediction related to Halo, I think, coming in later. But yeah, I could see that being the case. I think it's about time we see Hellblade 2 again. That was, the first game they showed, I think, with the announcement of the console. So it's kind of surprising that, you know, we had a whole year of hype for the console. The console came out and that we haven't seen it since.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so I think it's about time for the marketing gears to start cranking on that. Um, I'm gonna bring it to Nintendo for
Okay.
my next. So here's my prediction that I had numbered as number 1. Nintendo will show only one new Smash character during the direct presentation. A lot of people are expecting two, but I think they're going to show one new character. Lewis will be disappointed at the character, and it will be from a Nintendo first party game and slash or from a franchise already represented in Smash Brothers. In summary, it won't be an earth shattering review.
Oh my
So
God, you bitch.
So I would put my money on the next Smash character is either another Fire Emblem person,
Oh.
or it's a Pokemon character,
Hmm.
or it's like,
Yeah.
Shadow from Sonic the Hedgehog or something. It's like it's gonna be something safe. I don't think it's gonna be another.
A new
I don't think it's
franchise.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, another new franchise, basically.
You know
Yeah.
what's kind of funny is like people are thinking about like two E3s from 2 years ago where they announced two characters and stuff like that. And the thing about it
Hmm.
is, I don't think they're gonna use up their last two characters because there's only two characters left on the fighter pass left to go. I don't think they're gonna put out E3 and then like just reveal your final two character slots. There's no way in
Yeah.
hell that they're gonna do it. So they're only gonna do one
Unless they announced that they were gonna do another, like,
fighter pass 3.
another set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only way. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Like Sakurai needs to go on a break at some point. But yeah, uh, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that a volume 3 can happen. I would love it to happen, but I have my expectations on it are pretty like below 10% on that one. So
Hmm.
yeah, given that given the idea that a volume 3 won't happen, I'm gonna say that they're not gonna just blow their figurative load and just reveal the last two characters. If anything,
Yeah.
they always do like a September direct anyways, so they're gonna want to
Yeah.
have it there. So my
I agree with
my
that.
my prediction, which is actually I'll go ahead and skip to that one, is which was like my number 7 prediction, was that it's gonna be Crash Bandicoot is going to
Okay.
be the reveal. Is going to be the character
Yeah.
that joins the roster, which I think I even predicted him on a previous
Yep.
prediction, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, we've predicted that before. So yeah, the thing with Nintendo is like, we've had all these big deal predictions for Smash Brothers, like Crash Bandicoot and Master Chief and all these, like, hype ideas. And we've had some hype characters be revealed before, but I feel like more often than not, if you look at the last few, like the last like 4 or 5 characters, a lot of them were characters where um they were from franchises that were already represented in the game, or it looked like they were there just to promote a Nintendo first party title or something like that. And also, Sakurai has said that Nintendo decided who the final characters are. So that has led me to believe that they just kind of want to promote, some of their last like first party games, and that will kind of be it. And that we're not like, I feel like maybe we got one more like holy shit character to come out, and I feel like they will leave that one for last. And that's why I think this one is going to be more of a on the underwhelming side. But I also want to say I did not write that it will be a character that I will be disappointed about. I wrote character that Lewis will be disappointed about. So your reaction will determine, Lewis, whether I get this prediction right or not.
well, it'll be pretty easy because I'm pretty honest when it comes to reactions. I'm probably going to be on the Level One
Mm,
Gaming live stream on Tuesday when they're doing the direct. So you'll probably get my reaction right then and there. I
sounds
might even
good.
be on the Xbox live stream to tell you the truth. I haven't asked Fame yet, but yeah,
Am I taking the next turn? I
it is your
think.
turn. It is your turn.
All right. So my next one, this is kind of a PlayStation non-prediction.
Hmm.
PlayStation will have no meaningful presence at all during E3 proper, though they will have a state of play happening between July and September. It will be featured as part of Geoff Keighley's summer.
There is
So
no
pretty
way for
easy.
us to like grade that on a if we're trying to have the grades turned in by next Friday.
Let me put it this way. There are still people out there, and I should have predicted this before the event today, actually, because we already got a PlayStation thing today with, and I think there was something else, but I'm not counting that. So, um, there are still people out there that believe Sony will drop something, either like a state of play or just an official set of trailers in their YouTube channel or whatever. I'm basically saying I think they're intentionally gonna go radio silent. They're not gonna do anything this whole month, and then starting next month, they're gonna like prepare something so that they can own like a conversation period.
Mm.
It's a pretty safe prediction, actually, I feel like, but I wanted to put it out there anyway, get an easy point. The way I say we judge this is that if by the end of June, Sony has not done anything major, then I get a point, basically.
You know, what's kind of interesting is like the if I'm trying to like gauge it because like there's gonna be like these I don't know like you know how like Call of Duty is always on PlayStation stage or whatever, and they get all like the stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's gonna be like a lot of like Sony logos or whatever, or PlayStation 5 logos on these trailers. Not just like when I'm not talking about
Okay.
Elden Ring where it's like you have all the logos like Xbox and like
All right.
PlayStation, all that. So what do you think your how can we
I'm
count
thinking
this?
I'm thinking Sony first and second party here.
Mm,
So I'm
okay,
not thinking like some game that comes out to on PlayStation. I'm talking about like Sony, like PlayStation Studios
okay,
games.
okay,
Um.
okay.
All
I
right.
can live with that. All
Your
right,
turn.
my turn. So I'm just gonna continue on with the Xbox hype train here. So a major third party game deal is going to be signed and it's going to be revealed to be coming to Game Pass day one. So,
Okay.
like, I put in I put it for example on my prediction. So, think of something like top tier, like Battlefield or Call of Duty, where it's like, imagine if, like, like Xbox comes out and just like a dump truck of money on the Activision says, okay, the next year's Call of Duty is day one, Game Pass, like something
Mm-hmm.
on that echelon level. I'm not talking about like MLB the Show. I guess yeah, MLB the Show I guess could work. I guess, but like just basically like this. Oh my God, I can't believe they managed to get that on Game Pass day one, and it's gonna be a third party game. It's gonna be coming out on
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation, but Xbox is gonna be able to just stun on everyone.
I would say that the fact that they got MLB the Show is
A stun.
bigger Call of Duty, but well,
mm,
Call of Duty obviously Call of Duty is the bigger game. It would be more meaningful in numbers, but I just feel like the like getting your competitor's game in your platform for free is just such an own. Like the fact that it's your competitor just makes it such an that that I feel like that is that level of big. But I get your point though. Like something like Call of Duty would be insane.
like imagine if like
So
it's
yeah,
like an Assassin's Creed. This year's Assassin's Creed is day one Game Pass or whatever. Like something
yeah,
like a top tier AAA third party game that it's a
yeah,
known franchise and yeah, and then Xbox fanboys would be like suck it, that kind of thing. So
yeah. That would cost a lot of money. But Microsoft has that money.
yeah, so
Um,
that's my prediction on that one. It almost kind of feels like I'm setting myself up to fail because you literally have to have like a dump truck like load of money just to do that. So
yep. Well, on the Microsoft front, I got another one here. In the Microsoft show, Todd Howard himself will introduce the full gameplay review of Starfield, which will get a release window at the end of its trailer set for 2022. So I changed on this because before I had predicted this game was going to come later this year, but I pay attention to ramblings on the industry and etc. I keep spitting today as I'm talking. I think it's because of the water getting stuck in my mustache or something. But it seems right now like it's more likely that this is a 2022 game as opposed to a 2020 game. So that's where my prediction is. I think it's pretty safe. We're going to see Starfield. Todd Howard's going to be there. We're going to get a gameplay deep dive, get a date. Maybe not a set date, but like a window. And it's going to be next year. That's what I think.
yeah, that's exactly my next prediction, word for word, is that
Oh, are you serious?
yeah, Starfield gameplay reveal along with a holiday 2022 release window is what I put in my prediction.
Okay. Okay. So you're going a little bit more specific there.
Yeah, it's gonna get that
Um,
Halo launch window kind of thing.
yep. And then I think just to wrap this up, then on the Microsoft, I got one more Microsoft one, which is that during the Xbox conference, we'll see Halo Infinite gameplay for 10 minutes. It will look significantly better than it did last time, and we'll get a release date in November 2021.
Fuck! Why did you? Oh my god. Okay,
What? What happened?
that was my last prediction from Microsoft.
Are you serious?
Yes.
There's a lot of overlap here. Go ahead.
I said 12 minutes gets showcased and we get a hard release date is what I put. Because I don't know if you know this, but this game got debuted back in like PAX of 2015. It's been
Wait,
like
wait, 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 wait. You're getting it all. Well, that has nothing to do with my prediction.
which one?
I
What
was
was
talking about.
yours?
I said during the Xbox conference, we'll see Halo Infinite gameplay for at least 10 minutes.
Fuck. Okay, I heard 12. I heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not predict anything about the game 12 minutes. So sorry for the confusion
Yeah.
there. Continue.
Okay, well there you go. Okay, so I heard the minutes part, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, how the hell?
Mhm.
No, like, okay. So in case you guys don't know this, but there's a game called 12 Minutes. It's like an
Looks
indie.
really cool.
It's like an indie game. It's being published by Annapurna Interactive, and also being co-published by like Xbox, or basically being like Xbox exclusive. It's not being put on PlayStation. And 12 Minutes is like a game where you're in like an apartment, and it like loops. It's like a time loop every 12 minutes or whatever, and you're trying to break the loop.
Mhm.
I've seen like a demo of it since like at least 2016, if not further. But I know for a fact that it got like revealed to the world back in like 2015, and I can't believe that a game that has like had a gameplay demo since like way back then still hasn't actually come out. So
Yeah.
it's been featured on previous E3 like sizzle reels, and it was supposed to come out in 2020, and now it's supposed to come out sometime in 2021 is what it says. We don't have a hard release date, and I feel like this is a good time to be on that Microsoft digital stage and re-reveal yourself, and also give us a hard release date where people can actually be hyped for it.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a bonus prediction here right now, Lewis. And the rules are gonna be this is not gonna count as one of my 10 predictions, but if I get it right, I win the game, period. Which is that 12 minutes Xbox conference available now. What do you think?
You know what? You know what? Thank you. You like helped me just feel better about myself right now. But you know, I would love that. I would just be on like the floor, like rolling, like, oh my God, and just like ready to
I
queue up for
I
like Game
feel like that
Pass.
would be so cool. Like we have a few of these different games that have been, they've been in development for a really long time. Another example is actually Psychonauts 2. And we keep wondering, like, when is this coming out? When is it coming out? It's set for 2021, but we don't know when. We don't know. You would expect that with the development time that they've had on it, that should be either done or close to being done. So maybe some of those will be the available now stunt, which has become kind of common over the last few years. There's usually at least something that's available now whenever we see these conferences, either a demo, like it could be like a Halo Infinite demo of some kind, or maybe something else. But I'm gonna predict right now, 12 minutes available now during the Xbox conference. I think that's gonna happen. Let's go. Let's go.
A1, I like that. I'll allow it. You win if that happens. Straight
All
up.
right.
I
Now
believe
going
it's
back to
your turn. I
Nintendo.
believe it's your turn. Yeah.
Yes. On Nintendo, here's my next one. A new Donkey Kong game will be revealed, but it will not just be another sequel to the Country Returns or Tropical Freeze series. This will be more unique and a new take on Donkey Kong, potentially with some open world elements. Not necessarily a 3D platformer. This could be a Super Mario 64 version of Donkey Kong, or I'm thinking maybe kind of like a Metroidvania style game where you can explore the levels and find like different things and etc. So my point is like I think we're gonna see. There's been some rumors of a new Donkey Kong game in development. I think we're gonna see it, and I think it's gonna be a new take on the franchise, a reinvention. You may say, guys.
Okay. I can dig it. I'm not buying it personally, but I
Mm-hmm.
can see the rationale, especially with the news story that we covered with like the whole like
Yep.
Nintendo, like the Mario Odyssey developers are taking on Donkey Kong, which is rumored. It's not actually confirmed, but yeah.
Yeah.
My last predictions are all Nintendo predictions. So I'll go ahead and kick things off with one of my last Final Four. So my next prediction is regarding Breath of the Wild 2. So we're gonna get a deep dive trailer, like a good at least a good 5 minute trailer with some gameplay, and we're gonna get a spring 2022 release window.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
gonna hit the fall as much as I would like it for it to be like November. I don't buy it for a second. It's gonna be that March Breath of the Wild 1 release window.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when we get to see a game, and the date is set for like 6 months after the first time we really get to see it, like it's the case with Elden Ring today. Because more often than not, the way you see the beats is like, oh, you see a teaser, then 6 months later you see a cinematic trailer, then like a year later you
A
see like the
gameplay
first
trailer.
gameplay
Yeah.
trailer, and then maybe you get another gameplay trailer like 6 months later or a year later, and then the game comes out, right? So I'm used to those beats. It's always weird when that doesn't happen. Like Elden Ring kind of skipped that a while ago. Fallout 4 kind of skipped that, famously. Um, so I wonder what the deal is going to be with Breath of the Wild 2 because it's been so long now. We saw that tease that one time that I wonder if they're gonna still go through the beats and maybe that game is far out, or if it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, here's a full on review and the game comes out in like 6 months or whatever. So we'll see. I have a Zelda related prediction as well. So I'm gonna bring it up right now. And this one is to celebrate Zelda's 35th anniversary, Nintendo will not release a 3D game collection like people expect. However, they will announce a digital only unexpected Zelda spin off to be released within the next few months, something like Super Mario 35.
I
So
hate you.
I think they're gonna have, everybody like, wants these like great things, and I think what we're gonna get instead is some like spin-off version of the original Legend of Zelda or something
We're
like
gonna get
that.
Link's crossbow training HD, is what you're saying.
Or something that is eShop, like an eShop surprise drop, like they did with Mario last year with Mario 35, like they've done in other situations before. I think we're gonna get that. And in addition to Skyward Sword HD, and in addition to, Breath of the Wild 2. Um, Even though I didn't make any predictions regarding Breath of the Wild 2 actually, because I figured you would and I didn't want to be too repetitive. But I think that will be the Zelda's anniversary. I don't think there will be a Zelda collection.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I actually don't think there's going to be a mention of Zelda 35 at this year's E3, but I think it's going to be something where they did with last year, where the Mario 35 stuff didn't happen until September. Like that's when they finally like talked about it.
Really?
They
Really?
started showing like, oh yeah, here's our like Lego NES and like all these other stuff. Like here's our collaborations, our shoes and all this other stuff. Like they were doing all like they were going on hard on Mario 35th as far as like the 3D Mario collection and all this other stuff. Um, Mario as and Bowser's
But
Fury, that was February.
if I remember correctly, I think Nintendo also didn't have a direct during E3 last year, did they? Or
No.
well, it's not that they didn't have a direct, it's that their direct was the one in September. They didn't
Yes.
have anything around this time. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
because it got canceled. Because E3 got canceled, they were like, okay, we don't have anything to show anyways, so that's what they did.
Hmm.
But as far as like what happened in September, like that's when they finally started talking about Mario's 35th anniversary. And so what I'm thinking is they're not going to talk about Zelda's 35th anniversary until September, anyways. And so, and also
Hmm.
not to mention, like I don't know if they want to talk about a 3D like Zelda collection of like Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on the Switch or whatever, or whatever they're gonna do. Like as far as like the Wind Waker and stuff. And I don't think they want to talk about it because they want the sales focus to be on next month's Skyward Sword HD. So then after it
Right.
comes out, then they can talk about Zelda's 35th anniversary.
Yeah. The other thing I think about though is that Nintendo doesn't often repeat. Like I don't think they often like you with Nintendo. You can't look at them and say, "Oh, they did this thing for Mario, so they'll for sure do the same thing for Zelda," because they tend to just kind of do different stuff,
Well,
every
also like
time.
also I'm pretty cynical with them because I don't think they actually celebrate an anniversary unless there's product to sell.
Yes,
So,
true. All right, Lewis, go ahead and give us your next prediction.
all right, let's see here. I only got three more left here, so
Yes.
I put down a Metroid Prime 4 trailer with gameplay.
Okay. And it's funny how we have these kind of like mirrored predictions where it's almost like you're the positive and I'm the negative because I have one right here where I say Nintendo will still not show Metroid Prime 4 nor Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Switch, disappointing fans of the franchise. In fact, there will be no mention of Metroid at all during the E3.
Wow, you are so cynical. Like honestly, like I feel like this would be a good time. Like even if it's way out, I think they can still show gameplay because they restarted development so long ago that they could at least have something of
I
substance to
think
show.
they absolutely need to do it. This game has been in development, even with the restarted development, which I don't believe they would have restarted from scratch completely.
Mm.
But even if they did, that game would have been in development for 2.5 years. There's no way they wouldn't have anything to show. I mean, if they don't have anything to show at all, then I would say that the project could potentially be in trouble, actually.
Okay.
However, I just don't have my hopes up for it because I feel like it's just one of those things that people always predict year after year and it never shows up, and then you just predict it on the next year and then it doesn't show up, and then you just predict it on the next year. I feel like here's what I'm actually thinking.
Okay.
Even if Nintendo could show something about this game, I don't think they will because I think they are gonna hold off on it until it's closer to being
Finished.
like
Yeah.
finished to get released, and I don't think we're there yet. So maybe that's the next year. Maybe that's the next year's E3 game.
Hmm.
You know.
So
So
like the banner could be like Breath of the Wild 2, and then the banner could be next year for Metroid Prime 4 kind of thing, like the headliner.
exactly. Yes.
I dig it, but even if I wanted to like go along with your like timeline of marketing, PR, I still say that there's gonna be a Metroid Prime trilogy at least announced at E3. Like you gotta like give us a
Mhm.
bone, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna buy that. Oh, there's not gonna be any mention of Metroid. Like I will have to at least concede that there's gonna be a Metroid Prime trilogy. For all we know, it's actually like complete. Like it's probably already uploaded on the in Nintendo server eShop, but just locked away or something like that. You know. So
I don't know. We'll see.
all right, okay, all right. So my next, I've only got two more left here. So my next
Hmm.
one is gonna be we're gonna get a Mario Odyssey sequel revealed at this year's E3.
Okay. I'm I could see that. And here's the thing that I think we'll either see the Mario Odyssey sequel or we're gonna see the Donkey game that I'm predicting. So I don't think we're gonna see both at the same E3 because
They're both the same
uh
team. Yeah.
yeah, the rumors that we got is that it's the same. Now I could see the team having split in two and to be developing both games, but even if the team was developing both games, then I would anticipate one of them to come out this year and one of them to come out next year or something along those lines. But yeah, I think we're due for a new Mario. I mean, a new mainline Mario. It's actually been 4 years really since Odyssey, so I would love to see that.
So
Um,
just as a separate side note, like what is this like? If we're talking about Breath of the Wild 2 and Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and possible Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever, like this coming fall like holiday lineup, which again some of them are like spring titles in this hypothetical. Like it kind of seems like Nintendo is gonna be like in for like that like honeymoon phase kind of thing again, if this all lands. That's to say.
yeah, yeah, potentially. Yeah, I agree. My final two are third parties, third party predictions. So, the first one that I'm going to bring up here is the Square Enix event will dedicate a meaningful amount of time to talk about improvements coming to Marvel's Avengers, including details on the Wakanda expansion. I think up to this point is pretty safe.
Okay.
But here's where I'm, taking a risk.
Okay.
A new hero slash expansion will be revealed, focusing on Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange.
Damn.
So the reason why I'm predicting those two, and I went through like a thought process there. It's like first I was like, well, after Black Panther, which they already have coming out, and announced, then the next one will probably be Spider-Man. But wait, Spider-Man is PlayStation exclusive, and with the situation that the game is at right now, I don't know if they're ready to do console exclusive content. I feel like that would generate some level of bad PR for them, and they need to build up the game overall first before they can do that, even though they already announced it a long time ago. Um, so which heroes would they focus on? We already have the core Avengers there. We already got Hawkeye, and we're getting Miss Marvel is already there, and then we got Black Panther coming up. I think that the next steps that make sense in my head are Scarlet Witch because she WandaVision
Mm-hmm.
having recently come out and very successful, and her seemingly having a bigger role on this new phase of Marvel. And then for similar reasons, Doctor Strange, because he is also going to have a similar role in like an important big role in this next. So I'm just kind of taking a risk, and I'm just kind of saying that they're going to go with one of those two characters. Also because those two characters would provide very unique gameplay mechanics. They would bring new cool shit, cool mechanics to the game
Yes.
compared to the characters that they already have, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm anticipating here.
You know what? I dig it. Um,
Yeah.
so, okay, I laughed at you at first, but you kind of turned it around, on your second half of the
Yeah.
prediction. All right, my final prediction is gonna be like another Nintendo one. We're gonna get Mario Kart 9 revealed.
Oh shit.
Yes. I think the Switch is due for its own exclusive Mario. Stop, borrowing from the Wii U because, Mario Kart 8 is a Wii U game first and foremost. So yeah.
It's kind of interesting how the timeline for the different companies work. Thinking about this, because if you think of Sony, right? The biggest, strongest Sony first party studios just released their stuff. Over the last like 2 years, or their stuff is coming out and we already know about it, like Horizon and War. So there's not really a lot of new things that Sony could be announcing right now. It's almost like if you think of it as like a cycle, right? 3 or 4 cycle. They're about to start kind of like the first year of that cycle again, where like everything is being started as opposed to like being ready to show. But on the other hand, Nintendo, they're at the other end of that where they've had a few years where we didn't really see a lot and where a lot of their studios have been quiet developing things, right? So I mean, we haven't seen Retro Studios in forever. We haven't seen what the Super Mario team is doing. They released Odyssey in 2017. We haven't seen anything Zelda since 2017 as well from that team. We haven't seen anything from the Mario Kart team since 2017 as well. So it's like we are at the point right now where if Nintendo lined up their cards right and they wanted to, they could have one of the best E3 presentations ever out of all companies. Um, you know, New Mario, new Donkey Kong, Metroid Prime, new Mario Kart. Like they could do that. Smash characters
Oh yeah.
if they wanted to. Splatoon 3,
Oh yeah, which we already
right?
know about. Yeah.
Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
So, I I think it would be awesome if that was the case. I am not going to expect it because I don't want to get disappointed, right?
I like how
But
you built me up just to tear me down.
like they have the potential to have one of the best E3s ever. But it's Nintendo, so
Yeah.
Nintendo got a Nintendo, you know what I mean? Like so we'll have to see. My final prediction, it's probably one of the least hype ones really. It's a Ubisoft prediction. Ubisoft will have a conference mostly focused on updates on their existing live service games. So we'll probably see, like an Assassin's Creed update or something like that. But they'll also give us an updated release date for the Prince of Persia remake and a look at a new game featuring Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher. Now, I was very careful with my wording here. I am not saying a new Splinter Cell game. I'm saying a new game featuring Sam Fisher.
Yeah, I
That
know.
could mean
Guest.
anything.
Yeah. Cause skin, guest. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We all know that Ubisoft likes to whore out Sam Fisher, and everything. So
Yes. Yeah.
uh, I'm not
Sam Fisher
surprised.
coming to Smash Brothers, maybe. You know.
Honestly, I would take Jonesy from Fortnite coming to Smash over Sam Fisher. Um, but yeah,
And
that's
all right, that's it.
that's it. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I thought my predictions were pretty trash, but now I don't feel so bad after saying them because they kind of feel like there's some rationale behind some of
I
the things I
thought
said.
I thought you were gonna say I thought my predictions were pretty trash, but I don't feel so bad after seeing yours. That's where this was going. Listen, I, you know, ever since I became a little bit older and more used to seeing these things and seeing these conferences, especially over the last few years, especially after seeing summer gaming last year in this pandemic situation with all those games getting delayed and all that stuff, I have learned to manage expectations really well. And what that means is that I expect very little from all these things, and I'm generally positively surprised.
Yeah,
Like I did with Summer Game Fest. So the truth is that pretty much anything that comes out of these conferences, I will be happy with. I feel like, um, I do think some of them have the. I mean, talked about Nintendo, but the truth is Microsoft has a lot of potential too. Like they are gonna have Bethesda with them, right? Like they if I was Microsoft, I would do a 90-minute conference where you see like 12 games, but they're all like it's like Halo Infinite, it's Perfect Dark, it's Fable, it's Avowed, it's Starfield. It's like all these bangers, you know what I mean? And we get like 5 to 10 minutes with each one. But then they also blow their load and they don't have anything for next year, right? And a lot of those are also probably far out. There's potential here. There's a lot of potential for Microsoft. There's a lot of potential for Nintendo. we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there was something I was going to add to that, but really, there's really not a whole lot to add. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. I think one of the things that I noticed is that like one of my very first E3s was like the when the was I wasn't watching E3 like growing up or whatever. I didn't start watching E3s until like the launch of like the PS4 and the Xbox One. And so I feel like one of my first E3 experiences was so hype and so memorable and stuff like that that I feel like my expectations are now like so set really high. Whereas like I feel like you have to like not only be meet this high expectation, you have to exceed it too in order.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like my mindset when it comes to E3. So yeah, I think that's the reason why I gave like these predictions like so low because like I'm not really feeling it right now, and I feel like that's where I should have been this whole time because like I feel like with like the PS4, the launch of the PS4 specifically, where they're talking about like four or 399, and this is how you share a game and all this other stuff, and
Uh-huh.
like dunking on everyone kind of thing. I feel like that's kind of like it set the wrong cadence for me. So
Here's the thing: is like knowing how to do a good press conference, a good E3 conference, is a talent and a skill on itself. It's kind of obvious, right? And it's not even necessarily about the content. And what I mean by that is like the content matters, but it's also about how you present the content, right? Because I've seen Nintendo Directs that were pretty bad, even though what they had coming up was not necessarily bad, but just because they didn't really know how to present it in an exciting way. Um, and I've also seen the opposite. You know, like the thing with Sony, and Sony had like 3 years in a row where they had fantastic E3s where everybody was so excited and everybody felt like they won E3 in quotes. And then they had a terrible one and then they stopped doing it, right? And then they haven't done one in like 2 years. But the truth is that in those E3s, like they didn't even have that much coming out in the near future, but they were just like, here's an awesome cinematic trailer. Here's a announcement, like a spoken announcement. Like remember how they announced Shamu 3 at a Sony conference when the game hadn't even started
it was
development
here's a
yet.
Kickstarter. Yeah, yeah,
Here's a
yeah.
Kickstarter, right? But people were so excited, people anticipated that game so much that they were happy to hear that. So it's like the thing with Sony is they were very good at just getting on stage and just being like, here's
Showman
everything you want, right? Like it's
showmanship. Yeah.
exactly the showmanship of it was good and it made people excited and maybe made people hyped. They didn't even realize they were so hyped that they didn't even really realize that like, half of it was shit they already knew. That half of it they already seen at the previous E3 or whatever. Like, and I'm saying this not for I think 2016 was like one of the big ones, but then like 2017 and 2018, at some point we just kept seeing the same games over and over again. Like, I think Spider-Man was shown at like 2 or 3 E3s in a row. Um, but they had the showmanship, and I feel like Nintendo, I don't know, like they've had a few moments where they had good showmanship, but recently I feel like they haven't really had it. It's like the format is good, like it gives us the information really quick, everything we need. But I feel like sometimes they lack like the excitement of the showmanship, right?
You know what's kind of
Um,
sucks is that with Nintendo, it's like they had better showmanship during the Wii U days because they had Iwata, and when
oh
Iwata
yeah,
passed away, and they didn't really like the thing about the Nintendo Directs is that was Iwata. It was his show.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it felt like it
yeah,
was his project or whatever. And one of the things that I was thinking that sucks about this whole situation is that um, the content is better on the Switch era, but the showmanship is worse.
yeah, yeah. No, I would agree with that. In fact, like if you remember, I mean, actually, I remember pretty well that Nintendo E3 where they did the puppets
Yeah,
for Star
good
Fox.
showmanship.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing, the puppet stuff was cool, but that E3 was actually a good example of a dry ass E3. Like for them, they didn't have almost anything to show at that E3. Like their flagship thing was Star Fox Zero, which looked like garbage at that point, right? But then a few years before, like the E3s that they had before that, where they showed like Mario Kart 8 and Smash 4 and all the character reviews for Smash 4 and that stuff, like they were doing a good job at that point compared to what they're doing now. I agree. Where I feel like they have excellent content. It's so cool to be a Nintendo fan now because we're getting awesome shit. We did have a little bit of a low year, but that aside, I've gotten awesome shit over the last few years. But you're right. Like in the E3 presentation in the directs, you're not really. making us hyped, right? So I do think they could benefit. And I'm a sucker for the live in person shows. So like that's really what I miss. Um, and something that got announced today during the Summer Game Fest actually is that the Game Awards will be live and will be in person. I mean, again in December this year. That was something that Geoff Keighley said during the presentation. So that will probably be the first post-pandemic in-person big gaming event that we're gonna have. So I'm pretty excited for what we're gonna see there as well.
Yeah, especially with it
Anyway,
being in
Lewis.
December and yeah, vaccinations are going
Yep.
up, and yeah, makes sense.
Yep. Anyway, Lewis, do you wanna move on and hit the other segments of this show?
Let's do it.
Right. So we got a set of extra news here today. I'm just gonna go through these summaries, and then we're gonna talk about whatever we want to talk about for a little bit. Um, so I had number one as the Summer Game Fest Roundup, but we already covered that. And number two, Pixel Opus, the studio behind Concrete Genie, is collaborating with Sony Pictures Animation on an exciting new PlayStation 5 title, as spotted on a job listing. Number three, a McDonald's chicken nugget shaped like the characters from Among Us, sold for $100,000 on eBay. Number four, you might want to click on that one if you haven't seen it. Yuji Naka, the co-creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, appears to have left Square Enix following the disappointing release of Balan Wonderworld. Number five, ESRB ratings have been spotted for the Medium on PS5, as well as Oddworld Soulstorm for Xbox Series and Xbox One, indicating that both of these previous console exclusive titles might be coming to their competitor platforms soon.
Wait,
Number
before we
six,
start, I thought it was
yes,
Balin. I thought it was Balin Wonderland. By the way, I don't know. That's
I
interesting.
actually think I actually think it's Wonderworld. I think that is
Interesting.
correct.
Okay, well,
Um,
before let me look at this chicken nugget here. Let me just
it's
pull it.
kind of a check this out worthy story, actually. So, literally, somebody goes to McDonald's, buys some chicken nuggets, and they get a chicken nugget that is shaped like the astronaut from Ungus just by chance. I'm surprised that article doesn't have the photo. I thought it did. You can probably look it up, and like if you look up Among Us chicken nugget, you probably find it.
Yeah.
And then they listed it on eBay in an auction, and the auction went up to $100,000. There we go, and it got sold for $100,000. And I think this is so ridiculous because who in their right mind would spend this kind of money to buy a chicken nugget? And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can understand the idea of an item, like a unique item becoming very rare to the point where somebody's willing to spend that amount of money to have it. The only way that they can have that. But you could just make a chicken nugget like this if you wanted to. Like it's not like we don't buy dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets. If they can make dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets, they can make any kind of shape for chicken nuggets. I'm sure there are companies out there that are probably gonna be manufacturing like an Among Us themed chicken nuggets like or something similar that looks like this.
I'm
And
sure Arctic
why would
Sloth
you
would like love to license this. By the way, so
I know. And like it's just also it's probably just gonna rot. Like what is this person
yeah.
gonna do? Like are they gonna keep this frozen forever? They just I don't understand. I don't
Yeah.
even have words for it. This is how outraged I am that this is a story.
All
Anyway,
right.
good for the person that found it. Um, Also, if I had found that chicken nugget, I would have been like, "Oh, look how cool! It looks like the Among Us character," and then I would have ate it.
Yeah.
No, so I guess that's the lesson for me. Number six, the game director for Overwatch announced, and Overwatch 2 actually announced that crossplay is soon coming to the multiplayer title, with cross progression possibly coming at a later date. Number seven, Microsoft has confirmed that it plans to bring Xbox Cloud Gaming to smart TVs and other standalone devices. We kind of already knew that, they just double confirmed it. Number eight, EA has announced Battlefield 2042, the next entry in the franchise coming October 22nd. The game supports up to 128 players on Xbox Series, PS5, and PC, and half of that on last gen. A gameplay review is scheduled for June 13th. Number nine, the Playdate handheld. I'm not sure if you remember this one, Lewis. Goes up for pre-order in July and costs $179 with its first season of custom games, including creations from Lucas Pope, developer behind Papers, Please and Return of the Obra Dinn, and Keita Takahashi, the developer behind the Katamari series. Number 10, The Rainbow Six game, previously subtitled Quarantine, is now being renamed to Rainbow Six Extraction, with a gameplay premiere promised for the Ubisoft Forward event on June 12th. Number 11, our final story here, the Atari VCS, which is the new console from the traditional video game company, will be releasing on June 15, 2021 for $299 by itself and $399 two controllers. I don't understand why you can buy it without the controllers. That seemed weird to me. But anyway, that is the thing. Lewis, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so I can't believe that they went in there and changed the name. Like you guys are bitches. I just want to say that you changed the name from Quarantine, and I know why you changed it to Quarantine because that name doesn't like ring really
Yeah.
well. In a
Well,
COVID era, post-COVID era. But fuck
people were
you.
predicting people were predicting that they were going to change the name this whole time. Like that has been a conversation point that I've heard for the last whole year where people are like, they got to change that name. They got to change that name. Well, they finally did it. I don't know. Like I
If I
kind of
was
feel like it doesn't matter,
if I was
but
running this shit, we would have stuck to our guns. But whatever. Anyways.
at the end of the day, I kind of feel like Rainbow Six Extraction almost sounds like a better name anyway. I feel like they wouldn't have done this. They wouldn't have done this if they didn't have data. So I just want to throw that out there too.
You know
Um,
what? You're right. I'll give you that one. That it does. Rainbow Six Extraction does indeed sound sexier. And it actually
mhm.
kind of also makes sense, like par for the course kind of thing. If you think about like what Rainbow Six is. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. But anyways, still stick to your guns, people. Come on.
Now, this Playdate handheld. Do you remember? This is the little yellow handheld that has a crank on the side, and where games have to be custom built for it, and it comes with like I think games pre-installed, and then you can install more games later on. Um, it's a very interesting idea. I feel like it's too pricey. Like it's basically, um, it's the at this point, it's more expensive than a 3DS, but it's even more expensive than the 3DS was when it was relevant. And with something so limited and simple, I feel like they should have priced this cheaper, but it's probably priced this much because it's going to be more of a collector item. Like I doubt that they're going to be able to mass produce this. Um, so it sounds like the kind of thing where they're going to sell like, maybe like 100,000 copies of it or something, and because of that, they got to have it priced a little bit higher than if Nintendo was making this and they were going to make millions of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm
it's
not.
interesting.
I'm not really like excited or hyped for this. But this picture looks cool though. So yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. There's a few things that I like about it. Kind of has that Ouya thing about it where like anybody can develop for it. And each unit works as a dev kit. And then I like the idea that they want to have this like curated set of games that release for it. They're trying to find known designers to make games specific for this thing. It also has a fairly unique input mechanism, but I wish that they would do that with something that actually had a full color, like OLED screen or something. You know what I mean? Like I would have been even okay with the form factor and etc. if it was more of a modern handheld as opposed to just what looks like this retro. I don't know, like this Game Boy thing. And then on a similar note, an Atari console for $400, which is next gen, like it's more expensive than a Series S, more expensive than a Switch. It's the price of a PS5 digital edition. To me, that sounds insane. I can't see how that's going to compete with those consoles as well, even though I don't know too much about it. So
You know what?
surprised about that one
Dan.
as well.
I just kind of wish that you would tell me these EA like stories before it becomes public. Because fuck you, Battlefield. I bet you. You don't have to answer this, but I bet you knew the name. I bet you knew it was called Battlefield 2042 before it was publicly available.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But, you never know. You never
Yeah.
know.
But anyways,
Um,
yeah, I would like that. That seems pretty interesting with the 128 players and stuff like that. So I like how like they're like, okay, 64 for you for all you last gen peasants and stuff like that. It's kind of hilarious. Let's see what else. What else? What else?
I actually, you know what? In the response, I'm just gonna say something. In the response to that Battlefield announcement, I learned about something that I didn't know about before. Are you familiar with a game called Mag on the PS3, Lewis? MAG.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay, so there was a game called Mag on the PS3. It was an acronym for like Massive Action Game or something like that. And that game apparently supported battles of 256 players on
Jesus.
the PS3.
Whoa.
And I have no idea how that was even possible at that point. And the game is unplayable now. They've shut down the servers many years ago. But people were talking about this on my timeline in response to the Battlefield announcement, and I was like, God damn! Like, how did I never heard of this? How were they able to do this? Number one, I mean, it must have chugged like crazy. I'm guessing there's no way this could have run really that smoothly, but it was a thing. It was a thing that existed.
Interesting. Interesting.
The other
That's
thing too is, can you imagine the queuing time to find a game? Like, it depends on how successful the game was, but after a certain amount of time in the market, I would guess that you would be waiting for a game for an hour to. But who knows?
yeah. All right. There's one last thing though, just to mention is that this is not on the doc and not on the extra news or anything like that, but there was a rumor that somebody like leaked or something like that the Samus deal for Fortnite fell through, and that Samus is not
Mm,
coming this season. That one that just came out, like the one that we're in right now.
mm-hmm.
So that kind of sucks. I think it's from that rumor that I was looking at. It looks like it's true. Like they really did it. They fell through. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
and the funny thing is, like, it would have made sense for Samus to be on this season,
Yeah.
with the theme.
Oh
So
yeah.
why don't you take over the show, and we're gonna talk about that.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do it.
What are you buying?
So for new releases, I'm gonna do like a quick little new releases slash battle bus crossover here, because Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 7 just dropped. It's alien themed with pilotable UFOs and laser weapons. The battle pass includes Superman, who is not yet available. It's got like a little ticking timer, like this many days to release, kind of thing. Rick
Hmm.
from Rick and Morty, and Instagram virtual influencer at Googieman. Never heard of that, but okay. There's also footballers Harry Kane and Marco Rios, and I'm going to assume that they're soccer players,
Hmm.
and that are going to be coming out on June 12th. And yeah, I have yet to actually boot up the new season. I just booted up just to like see the new trailer, and that's it. I will
Yeah,
say,
I
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm gonna just say this real quick: is I did not play Chapter 6 like almost at all. So
Hmm.
I hate myself because I didn't get Raven, like the DC character Raven.
Oh,
So my
really?
DC character slots are like not complete, and I'm super
Ooh.
pissed.
Louis, we gotta play Fortnite together because you are always talking about how you're gonna, flex when you play with me. And well, now I can flex with you because I got Raven. But you know what? I want to talk about Fortnite for a little bit here before we move on. So, chapter 6 or season 6, it was okay. I felt like, some of the new stuff that they added was not great, but it was on season 6 that I started playing with my two Brazilian friends that since gotten really into the game. So I had a lot of fun playing trios with them during season 6. I got Lewis to level 98
Oh,
on Sunday. And then I went to bed and I was like, Monday, I just have to go in. I'll play for a little bit. I'll get level 100. Or, I'll go in and I'll just, if I don't have time, I'll just pay for the next few levels or whatever. And I'll be fine. Then on Monday, I completely forget about it. I'm not even thinking about Fortnite. I think I had to work late. I don't remember, but I'm just going through my day busy. I got shit to do, shit to take care of. And then I'm in bed at 11 p.m. and I go, fuck, I didn't get level 100. So I didn't turn on the game. I was like, can I still do it? I opened my phone and I checked like the status of the servers, and they had just turned off the servers for maintenance. And so I was not able to get level 100. I ended the season with level 98. 98.
oh, that's like the
Two levels
worst.
for
You didn't
I
get
know,
like the
two levels
last
from getting the
skin or
final
whatever.
skin.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that one hurt. That one hurt. I got I got level 100 on season 5, ended up on level 98 on season 6, but whatever, a new season has started. I have logged into the game and took a look around the menus, but I have not played yet. I will be playing it for the first time tomorrow night with my friends. So excited to see how things work. They were doing some interesting shit at the end of season 6 to tease this new season. I got abducted in one of the games that I was playing, and all it was is that you just kind of got pulled into the sky randomly, and then you disappeared, and then you reappeared somewhere else in the map. It was kind of nearby, so it didn't matter too much, but that happened in one of the games that I played on season 6. Now, I do want to bring up that they changed how the battle pass works completely on this new season now. And you can now, rather than unlocking things in order as you level up, you get stars, which are this new currency type, and then you use stars to unlock the things that you want. So theoretically, it's, I guess, better perhaps because
You can go
you
straight to the
could,
skin that you want to get first.
yes.
Yeah.
So rather than having to get to level 100 to unlock everything, maybe you can get to level 50 and just pick the things you care about. So there's less of a need to grind to get the things you
Yeah,
want
I think I needed
through
to
the
get
battle
like
pass.
level 70 in order to get Raven or something like that. Like,
Yes.
and if in the new system, I would have been able to get her first, or I would have probably got her
Yes.
second because I would have went for Lara Croft first and then Raven second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I like that, and I just think that it's really interesting that they're like, even like this late in the game, they're still changing. Like, even they're I can't. It's really interesting how they're still constantly changing the menus and how everything is
Yeah.
displayed to you and how everything is presented to you. And I think it's really interesting that they're tinkering with progression and stuff like that. When I first saw it, because I saw it like very briefly whenever I was like booting it up, I was seeing like this new currency system, and I'm like, I was kind of thinking to myself, oh my god, this seems kind of whack. But
Yeah, it feels convoluted at first, but here's the interesting thing to think about though is that I feel like that change out of all the changes they made recently is one of the riskiest change that they've made because I could see that motivating people to play the game less because before,
you had to play,
I
right? Yeah.
yeah, like I played the game pretty actively last season, looking forward to getting Raven to level 70 something. If I had gotten to level 35 and unlocked Lara Croft and Raven, let's say, like maybe I wouldn't have cared to play as much. Like I probably would still play it anyway, but I feel like if you can prioritize what you unlock, then you're more likely to get to, let's say level 50 and be like, you know what, I don't need to grind to get to 100 because I already got the best rewards out of this battle pass. Versus before, the game kind of forced you to grind to get the best rewards. So
And they always put the best skin at level 100 most times than not. Like, yeah.
yes, and granted, I understand a company like Epic, they've done research on this. I'm curious to see the results because the other thing that could happen too is that people are more likely to buy the battle pass perhaps because they go like, oh, I don't have enough time to play the game to grind to level 100 every time, but now I can buy the battle pass, play for as much as I can, get to level 50 on the season, and then unlock the things I care about. So I don't know. I could see it going both ways.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we'll probably give you guys impressions on the actual gameplay because I will say like I really didn't like season 6. I did not play it almost at all. Like me and my friends, my group of
Mm-hmm.
friends that I would socialize with through the game, we fell off the game altogether. So
Just one more thing. Skin game for this new season, kind of weak.
oh, I
Um,
was gonna say on point. I mean, you got Rick from Rick and Morty and Superman. I mean,
okay. They don't hit me.
oh,
I've never watched Rick and Morty, and I think Superman is like one of the most boring superheroes. Like I don't care about Superman at all. So also just two, like basically just two, like meaningful skins, right? Um, I don't know. I feel like it could be better. I think Lara and Raven are better than Superman and Rick, but that's to me. And I think previous seasons that where I didn't play were stronger than both of those seasons. So
I can see that. I'm
yeah.
really all about Rick and Morty. I love that show. So I think Rick is more hype for me than Superman, to tell you the truth. But
Hmm.
having Superman also completes because I have Batman and Superman because like I have all like the DC characters and stuff like that. The only thing I need is Wonder Woman because they don't have a Wonder Woman license for whatever reason.
The
But
the other thing too is that I thought both of these characters were already in the game. By the way, I didn't know those were new skins. I thought they
yeah,
were. I would have guessed that because they had all these other heroes. I would have guessed Superman had been there all along. So
yeah.
yeah.
So what's it called? I bought like the like last week they put out like a Deathstroke skin, which I got, and I also got
Mhm.
this that they re-released the Batman bundle where you can buy like the Christopher Nolan Batman like from the Dark Knight. You can put like that Christian Bale Batman skin on. That's pretty cool. So yeah.
I bought my first skin, but now with money, with V Bucks that I had accumulated, I bought Harley Quinn skin. So that's what I got.
That's a
So
good one. I
yeah,
like that. That's a good
yeah.
pick. That's a good pick. I have her. But yeah, that's like I said, impressions forthcoming. Hopefully, I play it this week or this coming weekend, and we'll actually tell you about some new mechanics and stuff like that. So, all right. Next up, for new releases, we got a free story mode expansion that was just added to Dying Light. It's a zombie action game from 2015 with a sequel coming out on December 7th. Cool. An expansion, a story expansion that no one ever asked for, and we're getting it. I guess it's just a market. It's like part of the marketing blitz for Dying Light 2.
Then like two is what I think too, because that game was announced many years ago, or probably like 2 years ago. We got a full look at it, and then it kind of disappeared for a while, and now it's back.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and hit up the actual new releases here. So first up is Game Builder Garage. I can't believe this is actually coming out already. It just snuck up on me. It's coming out on June 11th on the Nintendo Switch. It says, learning something new is like gaining a real life power up. Game Builder Garage helps you understand the basics of visual programming in a fun, memorable way. With your new power up, you just might look at video games and apps you enjoy every day in a different way. Continue learning to power yourself up even further. Ready to take the lead? Let your imagination and curiosity run wild in free programming, where the sky's the limit. Add a node onto your programming screen and decide how they interact to your game, how they interact to bring your game to life. You can even choose the music or an exciting theme. Now, Dan, as a game developer, I am sure that you must love stuff like Dreams and something like
Yeah,
this.
I love that stuff like this exists, because it's such a good introduction for kids to start learning and getting into not just game development, but programming in general. I had programs like that I used as a kid that I've talked about before. That
RPG Maker, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, RPG Maker is the main one, but there was also a program called Scratch that I used in school that I was also used to make little games. And when I was in going to college and learning actual programming, some of the skills that I learned from those experiences actually did come back to me and were helpful. Even if I was doing something completely different, a lot of the logic, like the logic connections that you build going through this, where you go like, well, like if I want to create this situation, I need this node and I need to connect it to that node because that's how they work together. That develops kind of like this ability in your brain that is very useful when you're actually coding for real with C++ or another programming language. So I'm always down to see stuff like that become available for the next generation of kids to be learning programming from early on, and then potentially take those skills into a career, either into game development or software development or whatever else they want to do, engineering, etc. I will say that nowadays I don't really get to spend a lot of time with these things, because I kind of do it Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 already. So, but it's cool. I always like kind of checking it out, seeing how. And Nintendo has been doing a good job with this because there was
Labo felt
also
like an experiment towards this, basically.
Labo, Mario Maker, Mario Maker
Oh,
2, Link's Awakening had that dungeon builder thing, and now this thing. They're doing interesting stuff on that front.
like
So
Nintendo is starting to like lean into creation now or something like that.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Next up, we for new releases we got Guilty Gear Strive. It comes out on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, as well as PC on June 11th. And finally, for the last new release, we have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's coming out exclusively to PlayStation 5 on June 11th, and it says here as the for the blurb, go dimension hopping with Ratchet and Clank as they take on an evil emperor from another reality. Jump between action-packed worlds and beyond at mind-blowing speeds, complete with dazzling visuals and an insane arsenal. As the intergalactic adventurers blast onto the PS5 console, blast your way with an arsenal of explosive new weapons, including burst pistol, topiary sprinkler, and the shatter bomb. Zip above cityscapes, boost into a combat, and slip through dimensions with physics-defying new gadgets. Enjoy a visually dazzling interdimensional adventure fueled by mind-blowing speed and immersive features of the PlayStation 5 console. Built from the ground up by the acclaimed studios Insomniac Games, you'll go beyond what you see with in-game actions coming to life in your hands via the DualSense wireless controller. Now, Dan, I just got to say, it's not very often where I get to do the reads, the blurbs and stuff, and I actually have good stuff worth talking about and reading about. So, I'm very happy with myself on the read and also with the new releases this week. It is pretty obvious that Ratchet and Clank is the pick of the week, but at least it had competition this week with Game Builder Garage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Ratchet and Clank is officially the last PS5 only game that we know about that's coming out. After Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart comes out, we officially did not have any announced PS5 only game. For better or for worse, I'm the kind of person that doesn't care about that, but I know a lot of Sony fans do. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. So take that Horizon and take that God of War. It's kind of interesting that like I can only think of just the two. I know there's more because they're like like Destruction All Stars. I think technically counts, but I don't really count it. I only think of like Demon's Souls and this game. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything else is kind of like in that indie space.
But
Oh wait,
to be
Returnal.
fair,
Returnal. Duh, that's three.
You're right. So we got Demon Souls, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and then maybe I feel like the back end game, and then Destruction All Stars. Perhaps those actually might be the only ones.
I think like there's another one. Isn't there
However,
isn't the PS Plus game that's being isn't that a PS5 exclusive or no? Or am I mistaken?
I don't know. I don't know. I would have to look at the PS5 game, PS Plus game this month.
Yeah, it's the one where like the Operation Flashpoint or whatever the name of that game is and stuff like that. But it's basically like spies working together kind of thing. But
yeah, it could be. But either way, the point still remains. Like we don't know. Like after Ratchet and Clank, we don't know what the next like PS5 exclusive will be, which is fine. I mean, there will be some. We'll find out about them. However, all in due time. And it's also fair to point out that on the Xbox side, we only I think got one officially, which was the medium. So far, and then maybe we'll get some more in the future. Although the difference here is that Xbox is being consistent with its messaging, where they said that they were not going to do it, and they're not doing it. While PlayStation said that they would do it, and they did it a little bit, but they're not doing it anymore. So.
All right, and there's one last thing to cover here before we go and sign off. Is well, first off, before I go into this article, I said in a previous podcast, I think it was the one with Kyle when Kyle was on, when we're talking about all things PlayStation. I said, hey, Ratchet and Clank is going to be running at 30 frames per second, and that was the information I had at the time. It turns out it's not it wasn't completely incorrect, but it was a little bit misleading. But as my understanding is that there's going to be a day one patch for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart where it's going to be giving you extra performance modes. So we're going to see it in 60 frames per second. And there's like different settings that you can do where it's like maybe you can do like a performance mode plus ray tracing, if however that works, So yeah, at least you have a lot of toggles to go through, which I guess I said we said on a previous episode, we said like, oh, it's a little confusing. There's too many options, but what have you. Anything you want to say before I go into this article, Dan?
No, go ahead.
All right. So Dan added this little article at the end, and it's titled Ratchet and Clank has a gun which can open portals to Uncharted, Horizon, and more. So I'm guessing this is like the little Easter egg stuff that that Dan likes to do and like check this out. So yeah, don't really have anything to say. I think it's really cool. I feel like it makes sense. It makes sense when you're like doing interdimensional like hopping. You can totally go into like see a different world and hey, you
Yeah,
own the Sony
if
stuff.
yeah, it fits with the themes of the game. Now, how cool and how cool would it be if they went further with it somehow and they were able to bring in characters from like stuff outside of Sony first party? Um, I don't think that would happen, but it's cool to imagine. Kind of like how Smash started with Nintendo first party, and then eventually they just kind of went crazy with it.
Yo,
I think
this
this is really cool.
this picture is dope as fuck. Look at this picture.
I I
Holy
know. I
crap.
agree. I agree. It looks really cool.
Damn. Uh, so yeah, I don't really have anything else as far as the show goes. So oh yeah, there's one other thing we forgot to do. We normally do Pro Gamers Guide, but we're not gonna do it this week. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a quick like little shout out. Is that for the Epic Games Store free games of the week? There are two games, which is Control, which I believe is a double dip because I think I might already have that game already on my Epic Games account. And also, they're giving away Genshin Impact, which I had to not look into it, but if it's a free to play game, they're giving it away for free on Epic Games with some extra bonus code or whatever. So I saw that
Hmm.
on the banner. Didn't really like look into it further other than like a quick like little cursory look at it. So two free games, at least with Control, it's good. I know it was given away on PlayStation Plus recently. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
It is time to end. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Ready Press Play. Remember, you can reach the podcast at ReadyPlayNetwork.com or simply at Ready Press Play on Twitter or TikTok. If you are watching us on YouTube, if you're on the Level 1 Gaming YouTube channel, on this podcast over there, make sure to go and hit that like button. Go and hit that subscribe. I know you've been watching us there and that you haven't subscribed to the Level 1 Gaming channel yet, so please go ahead and do that. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on this episode, with your thoughts on the podcast overall. We'll make sure to read them and respond to you if you do. So thank you so much for that. I'm on Twitter at the Dan Lima and Lewis.
At Chocolaka88.
That's right. See you next time. Thank you so much.
Peace.